So let me ask you, you have out fundraised Marjorie Taylor Greene, which is great. You've had a lot of people on your side. In some ways, this race has become national. Her history, from her anti-Semitic comments to her conspiracy theories, it's really well known. Mr. Flowers, with that said, why do you think the race is so close, considering that we've all seen who she is? Why is it so close?
Clay, a big thing that we've been pushing back on in this campaign is misinformation and disinformation. There are a lot of people who, aren't getting the truth, and they're expecting their elected officials to tell the truth. Congresswoman Greene hasn't been telling the truth, and others like her haven't been telling the truth about January 6th, about the issues that we're facing here on the ground. So that's one of the biggest things that we have to push back against. Make sure that, because facts do matter, we have to make sure that people are actually getting the facts out on the ground.
So I hear you. I'm with you on that. But nonetheless, she seems to be radical and extreme and just downright scary. So I guess I'm curious to know, why has that resonated with the voters? I mean, she's somebody who shouldn't even be in Congress, in my opinion. Why? What's going on there on the ground?
I mean, if you look at Georgia's 14th, we're a microcosm of the rest of the country. Now, we know that there is a loud minority, out in the country who are prone to misinformation, disinformation, conspiracy theories, and outright lies. This district is no different from anywhere else, but they are, and let me tell you, they are definitely the minority. The majority of people, they're exhausted with the lies, with the white hot rhetoric that they're seeing, coming out of DC from our elected officials. They want things to get done. They want things to get done for them here. And that's the conversation we've been having on the ground. And that's what I plan to bring to Congress.
So tell me, if you were in Congress, what are 3 policies you would either sponsor or co-sponsor that would be really important to you and the people in your district?
Well, as a boy who's born in Troy, Alabama, the birthplace of John Lewis is one of my idols. So protecting our right to vote and making sure that the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act is pushed through in the 118th Congress. That's number one. Any policy that takes care of our veterans and our health care here in Georgia, in rural Northwest Georgia. We've lost 10 hospitals in Georgia over the last several years. Rural health care is something that's very important for me, especially when it comes to our veterans. That's something I'd love to work on. And, there's so many other issues that we're facing with infrastructure and bringing jobs into our district. Those are 3 of the top things that I want to work on for this district.
So, in speaking of combating misinformation, in my opinion, the Biden administration has really had some big wins these first 2 years. It's heartbreaking to hear about hospitals being shut down all throughout Georgia. So, but with, I keep hearing people like Herschel Walker say, you voted with Biden 96% of the time. And Biden has also worked across the aisle and gotten criticized by the left, from the left, for working across the aisle. So how are you connecting the dots with the voters that, hey, here are some policies that came out of the Biden administration that specifically it's going to help you and to help the people of Georgia? How are you connecting it with the voters so they see that Biden is not the enemy?
But people are aware of what our needs are here in the district. And I keep it on what our Representative Greene, has voted against. She's voted against she's voted against health care for our veterans. She's voted against infrastructure that's sorely needed in this district. For me, it's not red or blue. It's about getting things done. And that's what I keep the conversation on when I'm talking to people out in the district.
Do you think Marjorie Taylor Greene is a racist?
I'm not going to speculate and go there right now. I would say that she's said many disparaging remarks about people of color, about different religions from hers. So, whether she's a racist or not for me to say right now, but I want to keep it on the issues and keep it on the facts. And what we need right now is a representative who's willing to work for us. People can make up their own about how they feel about Marjorie Taylor Greene, whether she's a racist or not.
She has an obsession with trans people. It's very strange. I don't understand. I just don't understand this obsession with trans people. I'm assuming, yeah, it's just very strange to me. How can you change the conversation for people?
LGBTQ plus rights are human rights. Full stop. We've got to stop this white hot rhetoric that Greene is doing, attacking kids. LGBTQ plus kids come up to me with tears in their eyes. Republicans, independents, Democrats alike, telling me that please get her out of our seat. She doesn't represent us. She doesn't represent our values. And these attacks on the LGBTQ plus community and kids, it's uncalled for. I mean, it's, and it has nothing to do with getting the job done in Congress for the people of Northwest Georgia or the American people at large.
Right. The talk of like genital mutilation, like why are you worrying about somebody's genitals? It's just very strange to me. I can't even
that was
get
something I had to shut down in the debate. That's somewhere she wanted to go. And I simply said to her, if you believe all of these things that you're saying right now, then I'm praying for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, without a doubt. Before you go, in case folks don't know, I know you've been making the rounds. Tell us a little bit of just who Marcus Flowers is, a little bit of your story and why you felt like you were the person to challenge Marjorie Taylor Greene in Congress.
Well, again, I'm a boy from Troy, Alabama, grew up between Georgia and Alabama. Coming up at 18 years old, I swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And that's what I've been doing ever since. For the last almost 30 years as a soldier, defense contractor, and government official for the Department of Defense. Stated simply, service to this country has been my life. I'm looking to continue that service after the election tomorrow.
One more question before you go. One of the things I've been asking Democratic candidates is that, I always say the largest voting bloc is the non-voter. I know so many people who are like, I'm not going to vote. No one's going to do anything for me. I'm not going to vote. So what is your pitch to because a lot of time folks don't come out during midterms. What is your pitch to the non-voter in this area of Georgia who would not vote Republican, but is just not considering coming out? I'm not going to do it. What's your pitch to them?
Guys, listen, there's so much at stake in this election. Democracy itself is on the ballot tomorrow. If you think your vote doesn't matter or doesn't count, I'm here to tell you you're wrong. Your voice matters. Get out and vote. Get out and vote because our democracy depends on it. And if you don't think it matters anyway, why not just do it anyway?
Right. Well, listen, I got to say, I love people being engaged in the process and voting, but I always say voting is one tool in the toolbox. And what I love is that you went a step further and ran for Congress. You're running for Congress. That's great. Like, it's not just voting. You said, you know what? I don't like what I'm seeing. I'm going to run for Congress. And that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. We got to be civically engaged in whatever way that we can. And clearly a lot of folks believe in you and support you. So I know it's less than 24 hours away, but Marcus Flowers, how can folks follow you?
Go to www.marcusforgeorgia.com, all spelled out. And, you can go on there and look at the page, find out where your voting precincts are. We need everybody to get out and vote tomorrow. This is so important. Thank you. God bless.